Okay, good morning. I'm going to do a little different video here today, and I'm going to put to rest some of the comments that I got on the Instagram. You can check me out on One Lonely Farmer at Instagram. This car that I'm moving around right there, that is a 1927 Chevy Capital Coupe that I purchased a couple of years back, and that will get running also. But back when I was a young lad, before Timothy, and I was married. I was married kind of young. I was 19 years old. My wife was 18 when we got married. No, she wasn't pregnant. I'm sure there's a lot of people that think that was the case. We didn't have Timothy for three more years. Couple of years anyway, but we did have a lot of fun when we were first married, because, well, at least I thought we were having fun. But I bought a couple of antique cars, this one being the second antique car that I bought. The first one was a 1924 Model T Ford, titled a 25, but it is a 1924. I rebuilt that thing from the ground up. It was all just a bunch of parts, and the cab or the body was in pretty bad shape. So I did a lot of research, and I found out a lot about the car, and I put it back together again, and it does work. I mean, the car is fine. It functions. You just haven't seen it on video in about 6 or 7 years. I did have it out and run it around with the kids in it, which is one of the reasons I bought it, because, if I'm going to have kids, an old jalopy like this would be pretty cool. So anyways, I got this harebrained idea that I was going to start doing weddings and day trips with these old cars. The Model T would be good for the wedding party, and the bride and her groom could get into the coupe, which this is the car that it would be, into the rumble seat, which it does have, a reverse trunk lid rumble seat. Well, the problem with that would be that wedding dresses back in the day were so freaking huge, and these cars are quite small. Me and Timothy got in this car last night and drove it around, and it is almost impossible for the two of us to fit comfortably in there, but thankfully Teresa is small and she fits just fine in there. But you're not going to have a family in this car. It's really meant for a young couple or a bachelor with a girlfriend and a couple of friends they could throw in a rumble seat. And that's what you would have. Now, I love the original cars. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there say, "Oh, chop the roof, lower it, and put a V8 in there, and you'll be good." Well, I have a flathead V8 that I purchased from Mr. Heavy Chevy a few years back, and I'd really like to put that in this car, just because it'll drop right in. This is a late 31. More than likely, all I'd have to do is change the grills over and throw that V8 in there, and it would look like a 32 V8. But I'm not going to do that, because I like the original 31 Model A Coupe. When I bought this, I always wanted to take a trip across the country, and how better to take a trip across the country in a Model A Ford? Come on. I mean, top speeds comfortably 50 mile an hour is a hair-raising speed, but comfortably 40-45 mile an hour you can zip across country in this car with no problems at all. It has plenty of power. Fuel economy is somewhere around between 15 and 20 miles a gallon, so it's no different than my truck. There are some things that I could do to make it more fuel efficient, but I don't know. Anyway, I was married to a woman that wasn't going to do it, and had a long-term girlfriend that wasn't going to do it. But Teresa here, as you can see, she is right there helping me get this thing started. And yes, it was a pain in the ass to get it started, but you will see in a little bit that it does run, and it hasn't run in 17 years. Probably almost 18 years. But here you go.
I just lost my damn choke tube. I should have knew better than that.
Choke tube. I'm sorry. Choke tube. I don't know.
I don't know English, Jack.
No, I'm not English. Yeah.
All right, see what happens.
Get over
this stuff. If you didn't know.
Okay, so you see that it runs, and it runs pretty good. It does need some new exhaust. Needs a lot of new bits and pieces for the exterior of the body. And to put to rest the complaints that I'm about to get on this video about, why don't you finish your other projects before you start a new one? Well, I'm always comfortable doing more than one thing at once. I can take two tractors apart, mix all the parts together, and then put the two tractors back together using their respective parts, because for some reason I'm really good at this stuff. This Model A car is just going in for paint right now, and I will not be the guy doing the paint. I hate painting. There is nothing I hate more than painting. So, well, I hate a cheating wife too. But anyways, painting is just not something I want to be doing. So there's a really good guy that did my R model Mac a few years ago, and he has agreed to do the bodywork and paint this car. So the only requirement that he had was it has to run so he can move it around the shop, which is awesome because it runs, and it runs very well. Me and Timothy took it out last night, and we just flew down Route 519. No, it's not registered. No, it's not insured, but we certainly did enjoy being Clyde and Clyde, not Bonnie and Clyde, because I'm not going to be Bonnie, and he's not pretty enough to be Bonnie. But anyhow, so we were Clyde and Clyde flying down Route 519 at 50, I think we hit 51 miles an hour, and the car would go faster than that, but it's fucking scary. I mean, this is an 86-year-old car that flies down the road at 55, 60 mile an hour is, I would say, top speed 60. I have had it to 60 when I was younger, but 55 would be, hair raising, and I would have to have new tires on it, and they would have to be pumped up to the proper pressure and everything in order for that car to achieve that speed. But yeah, anyways, all the fluids are going to be changed, and everything's going to be turned over to synthetic, so that I get the most gas mileage out of it instead of this old crappy gear lube that smells like a dead dinosaur. That stuff's got to go. Same thing in the transmission, everything. And I'm going to be looking for an overdrive, because at some point, me and Teresa are going to make a trip from New Jersey all the way across the country. Going to visit a few people along the way, probably a lot of people. I'm going to announce where I'm going to be and the time I'm going to be there, and I'm going to do meet and greets all the way across the country and back again. So enjoy this. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I hope to see you along the road sometime. Have a good one.